Hey everybody, today I'm going to be making some cinnamon rolls. These do actually freeze pretty well and reheat. My husband loves morning pastries. So I will actually serve one of these with our dinner tonight as a dessert because it's good for that as well, and then I will freeze the rest. So what you're going to need is you're going to need about 1.5 cups of shredded mozzarella cheese, 2 tablespoons of cream cheese. As you see, I've already have it down in that bowl there. You're going to need baking powder, baking soda, a teaspoon of vanilla, a little bit of cinnamon. It's really to your personal flavor, how you're wanting that. I'm going to be using some of ChocZero Caramel syrup on mine as well, just because I like the sweetness that it gives. You need a sugar substitute, which I'm using Swerve. You need about 1.25 cup almond flour, and you need 2 tablespoons of flaxseed. You can also use pecans to your flavoring. You can leave them out if you want to. I will be putting some pecans inside of my rolls, as well as just sprinkled lightly on top. So I'll go ahead and get started. The first thing I'm going to do is heat this mixture here, same as that we do with our fathead dough, until we get it nice and runny and kind of gooey. I am missing my eggs here. I will pull my eggs out of the fridge because the eggs will be going into this mixture next. I will show you each step of the way as we go. So let's make some cinnamon rolls. Okay, so now that my cheeses are melty, I now added my egg in here. You do want to make sure that you're using a room temperature egg. This is a little harder for me because I'm trying to do this one-handed. Once you mix this all together, you're then going to take your dry ingredients. I added 1/2 cup of Swerve to my dry ingredients as well. I'm then going to slowly add this into this to make a dough. Then I will roll that out onto a piece of parchment paper that I'm going to spray with some olive oil. So I'll show you that once it's done. Okay, so once you have everything mixed together, I do want to note that I did add a little bit of Himalayan salt to my mix. I also added in my baking soda as well as my vanilla extract, all to this. So once you have it all mixed together, you should be able to pick this up, and it's going to look kind of like this. It's going to look like a dough, right? It's going to get stringy as you pick it up. It should make a giant ball. You're going to take this whole ball and put it over onto your parchment paper that you have sprayed, or rubbed rubbed coconut oil or rubbed butter or whatever you want to do. Just make sure that the parchment paper has some type of non-stick on it. Then you're going to take another piece of parchment paper and spray it, and you're going to start rubbing your dough out until it forms a giant square. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, I have now rolled my dough out. Be very careful when trying to touch this because it is going to be sticky. That's why you want to use the other parchment paper that's been oiled to stretch this out. And you do want to make sure that it's fairly thin. If you guys can see how thick that is, it is not very thick at all because we are going to be rolling this. Okay, so just think of it that way. You want to make sure it's as even as you can get it all the way across, which I see mine's a little thicker right here, so I might push that out just a little bit more. After you've done that, you're going to take about 5 tablespoons of your sweetener of choice. And you guys, a lot of people like to use a brown sweetener on this. So you can use Sucre Gold, or you can just say, hey, you know what, I don't need a brown sugar. I'd rather just use what I have. Hi, honey. Yes, we see you. That's lovely. Are you ready for some cinnamon rolls?
Yummy.
Yes, yummy. So you're also going to take about 1/2 cup of chopped pecans down in here, as well as some of your cinnamon. Mix all this together really, really well. You're then going to put this all over the top of your square here before we roll. This step is optional. I personally like it. The ChocZero Honest Syrup in Caramel, I'm also going to drizzle this in the middle before I roll. So I'll show you what it looks like before I start rolling. Okay, so this is what it looks like before I start rolling. You guys can see I tried to get as close to my edges as possible without going over. Just keep in mind we are going to be rolling out to the edge. So you do want to try and get the majority in the middle because we will be rolling, but don't, neglect the ends as well. Now I'm just going to do my ChocZero, and I'm going to go ahead and start rolling. I'm going to be rolling up this way, and then I'll show you guys what it looks like once I get it rolled. So this is something that I want to show just to make sure that I'm being clear when I say roll. You're not rolling with the paper in between. You're rolling underneath so that the dough is touching the dough, and then pulling this out on top. You're not going to have the paper inside the roll. Okay, everybody? So it is a little difficult, but as you roll, you'll just pull this up as you roll, okay? Okay, so now that the entire thing has been rolled, I'm going to take this whole roll in the parchment paper, and I'm going to throw it down in the freezer. Then I'm going to set my oven at 400, and I'm going to not remove this again from the freezer until the oven is fully preheated and ready to go. Okay, once your oven is preheated to 400 like mine, you're going to remove and unwrap your roll from the freezer, and you're going to cut this into 8 sections. It will make 8 little pinwheels that we're then going to place into the round pan that we're using. Make sure you spray your pan, and it's going to go in the oven for 20 to 25 minutes. Okay, so this is what they're going to look like right before you put them in. Again, I tried to do as even as possible. Obviously, I didn't. We got that one scrawny guy down there. But try and cut as evenly as possible if you can. Again, pop this in the oven at 400 for about 20 to 25 minutes. Excuse me. I did want to say, when you guys are cutting this with your knife, I had to spray my knife down with some olive oil just to make sure I was getting a clean cut. That might be something that you guys want to make sure that you do as well. Make sure that you have a greased knife. Okay, so the last step of this process is, of course, the topping that we're going to be doing. I like to use a confectioner sugar for the topping just because I feel like it makes it a little bit smoother. So I have about 3 tablespoons of butter that's been melted and just kind of sitting here, with 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract and 4 ounces of cream cheese. You can also see I put a little bit of Himalayan salt on the top just because I feel like salt usually makes the sweetness flavor come out a little better. I'm going to then take my confectioner sugar, which I'm using about 3/4 of a half of a cup. Sorry, so 3/4 of a half of a cup, and dumping that in here. And you're gonna just blend this until it's smooth. Once your cinnamon rolls come out of the oven, you do want to wait until they have cooled before you do this topping on them. Otherwise, it's just gonna melt everywhere and run off and just be a big mess. So I'm going to go ahead and get this blended up while I'm waiting on my cinnamon rolls to cook. And then once they have cooled, I will show you guys what they look like when they have been topped with this mixture. Okay, everybody, so here's mine once I remove them. I cooked mine for about 20 minutes, and I probably could have done a little bit less than that. So really make sure that you're watching yours. I have a convection oven. That might be why, because I've done these at 20 before, but I don't think I was doing it on the convection bake. Or maybe vice versa. Maybe I'm just baking and not convection. I'm now going to just let these sit and cool. Once they fully cooled, I'm going to start putting the icing on them. I will show you what one of these guys looks like tonight, because we're going to be eating it as a dessert with our dinner. So yum, 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 yum. You'll see what it looks like soon. Alright, so these have cooled now. As you can see, I've already eaten one with my toddler. They are delicious. I'll throw up that photo because she was trying to steal the entire thing from me, which is kind of comical. The great thing about these is they really do taste like actual cinnamon rolls. So if you're craving something that's, you know, back to your old type of lifestyle where you could eat these, you know, just straight from the can, this is an awesome, awesome recipe. So at this point, you can either put these in the fridge like this and then store your cream cheese separately and then do it, you know, top them as you eat them. Or if you know, really don't mind it being super melty when you heat them back up, you can go ahead and top these with the cream cheese mixture. You can freeze them, you can refrigerate them. If you do refrigerate them, I do recommend that you eat them within the same week that you make them, probably within the same 4 to 5 days. If you freeze them, you can pop one out at a time, reheat them. If you do freeze them, I would probably say freeze them without the cream cheese frosting, and then just make yourself a very small batch when you do pull them out. But otherwise, I hope you guys really, really super enjoy these. I know that my family does. And remember, you can always subscribe to this YouTube channel for more easy keto recipes. These are low carb, high fat recipes. And they are also husband and toddler friendly. Just in case you guys are wondering, I don't ever put anything on here that I haven't tried out myself. I will be uploading this recipe onto ketosismom.net. You can also follow my blog there and get numerous recipes written out there if you would rather have a written recipe. You can also follow me on Twitter and Instagram at ketosismom. My Facebook handle is at the ketosismom. So I hope you guys really enjoy these. I hope you guys are enjoying this YouTube channel. I hope you guys are enjoying all my recipes. If you ever have anything that you're craving, this recipe is actually from something that one of my clients was really, really craving, and that's where this came from. I tried it quite a few times. I have nitpicked it a little bit from the original recipe that I found online. So just know that you guys, anything that I put on here is things that I've tried a few times and tweaked probably multiple times before I put on here. But I really hope that you guys aren't wasting ingredients like I did when I first started a keto diet, trying to make things and then they just weren't turning out. And I was thinking to myself, gosh, this would have tasted better with XYZ. So, bye, Eiley. You gonna cook us something? Yeah? All right, say bye.